Okay, we're going to start in just a minute. Kevin's here, so we can start. Mayor, sit down. All right. I kind of like that now. I haven't been able to do that in a while. So I'm with Delta. I don't know now. Anyway, well, good evening, everyone. And first off, the first thing, if you have your cell phone, if you would please silence it. Usually the mayor doesn't cut his off, and it rings about halfway through. So if you have them, silence them, cut them off, whatever you would do, please. I want to just take a minute. I'm Chuck Allen, and I'm just very, very proud to be here for this event and our recognition of Mayor Al King. And I want to take a minute to kind of introduce. There's several people, so I'm not going to get too deep in the introductions. I saw Representative John Bell here. I saw Senator Lewis Pate here, so we want to thank them for coming. There's several county commissioners here. There's tons of former and current city council members. We're glad to have all of them here. There's some folks from the league, from Raleigh, from the RMS board that the mayor served on. There's several other league folks here, several other mayors and folks from other cities. I saw Paul with the league here. I saw Julie White here. So we're just really glad. I saw Judge Gaylor is here. We got to be nice to him. He swore us all in. So we want to be good. There's several city employees here. We're very happy. I saw Anthony Goodson with the Housing Authority, and we're glad to have him here. And there's just several folks in the audience, and I'll stop at that, but I'm just very, very glad there's several base folks. We're glad to have you. And if I keep on naming, we're never going to get going. So anyway, we're glad to have everyone here. It's quite the occasion, and we're just really happy. We're really glad to have Mayor King's family here. I know as Miss Juanita's glad to have them here. So, and we're glad to have Miss Juanita here and back in good health. So that's a really good thing. And basically, I'm just going to get started. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to have comments from Lieutenant General Steve Kwast. He did this by video. So we're going to, and he was quite the friend to Mayor King. So we're going to let Julie, if you would, start with General Kwast.
Mayor Al King, on behalf of an entire generation of airmen that you have influenced, led, and inspired that have come through Seymour Johnson Air Force Base, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being an example of a great man. I know your journey is not done, but I want to tell you that the loyalty you have engendered in the hearts of all of us that have been through that place will never fade. And it's because you have followed the classic principles of leadership that all of us aspire to. One, you have the courage of a lion, where you will not be dissuaded from doing the right thing for fear of physical harm or moral corruption. You are a courageous man, and you act with that conviction. Secondly, you know who does the work, and that is your people, your team, and you always give them credit. I can't tell you how many times I have listened to you talk about, this is not me, this is these great people in this community that gather together and do things out of the goodness of their heart. And then finally, you care about people. Your empathy and your ability to put yourself in other people's shoes. The fact that you are motivated by doing something for others, not for yourself, is a compassion and an empathy and a selflessness that is rare in humanity to the degree that I see that in you. For these reasons, you are our hero, and we model ourselves after you. I will tell you this, Goldsboro and Wayne County don't know how lucky they are that you have shaped the course of their destiny through your leadership. It will be fun in years from now to look back on this great city and reflect on your fingerprints that are all over this place, whether it's downtown or in the hearts and minds of a culture of people at Goldsboro that really care about one another and care about their place in history. Thank you, and I can't wait to deliver this in person and give you a big old hug. God bless.
Well, the one thing that I know General Kelly and General Doherty and Slokes will all appreciate on General Kwast's speeches, as most of y'all have ever heard him, he can talk for an hour and never take a break. And when I saw he was on this, I'm like, oh my goodness, this thing will never be on time. But he did a really good job, Mayor. So I was proud of him. He did good. All right, so next we'll have a true friend of Goldsboro, true friend of the mayor's, and just a good all-around gentleman. Mr. David Will is going to make some comments, please.
Thank you, Chuck. It's wonderful to see this room full again. Thank you for coming tonight. Occasionally, because the mayor and I are closer in age than I like to admit, I feel the need to call from time to time to see if I can solve some of the problems of the city or the state or the nation. And so I call Laura Gett, or I call Melissa Corsa, and ask if they can arrange for the mayor to have lunch with me. And we do, and we meet someplace normally that we can walk to, and we do solve most of those problems. We talk about cabbages and kings. We talk from time to time about the Institute of Government, which we both think is a wonderful institution that brings a great deal of stability and a common purpose to the municipalities all across the state. Occasionally we talk about the soup kitchen, where the mayor and I have served from time to time. I will tell you that one of the problems at the soup kitchen is getting people to eat their vegetables. But the mayor we always put at the vegetable section, and he has a way of requiring that they eat their vegetables if they're going to get out. Periodically, we talk about the length of black funerals. And that's a subject that Mayor King might like to address at some time. We didn't know it at the time, but back in February 19th of 2005, when the Paramount Theater burned, it was a good fortune for our community because it gave us the opportunity to rebuild. And as cities do, and perhaps the government as well, the city looked into rebuilding the theater. And as their normal approach is, they hired a consultant. And a year later, the consultant came back and said that it would cost $13.5 million to build a multi-purpose building. And I knew it was dead on arrival. I knew our community wouldn't spend $13.5 million. And as an editorial comment, I always have felt that multi-purpose means good for nothing. So after the report came out in the paper about the price of the new theater, I thought about it a while and drew it out on a yellow pad and applied some construction numbers that I felt might work, and I called the mayor up. And I asked him if I could come down and talk to him about the Paramount. And he said, well, it's quieter in your office. Why don't I come down there? So he did, and we sat in my office in this building downstairs. And I told him that I thought the theater could be built for a lot less money and that I would be prepared to lead the effort to rebuild that theater and that I would guarantee that the city would not have to invest more than $4.5 million in it, and that I would see that the remaining funds were raised, but that I needed some encouragement, and the encouragement was I had to have the mayor's support. And it took him little or no time to say that he believed in the theater, he thought that the constituents supported it, that he had letters in support of that, and that he would stand by me in supporting that. I can't tell you what that meant, because as I began to go out and try to build support for the theater and raise money, I constantly heard, we don't need it. And of course we don't need it any more than we need libraries, schools, or parks. But nonetheless, I wanted to see that if we could build it. So I went through the process of talking to the commissioners, to the council, and then there had to come the night of the public hearing. and I thought we might be in for it, Mr. Mayor. The room was full, and the mayor introduced the topic in this fashion. He said, "We have a nice crowd here tonight, and we are going to listen to everything you have to say. But I want you to know we're going to build a theater." So the first person gets up and comes to the microphone and they say, "Well, I know you're going to build a theater, but we don't need it. And a lot more things that Goldsboro needs." The second person came to the microphone and they said, "Well, I know you're going to build it, but we don't need it." And I think that was it. I think everybody had been beaten back by the mayor. I say that because steadfastness is a characteristic of Mayor King. Tonight, Danny King provided the food for our. Danny is the first cousin of Mayor King, and he runs a very highly regarded feeding and mentoring program in Mount Olive. And if he hasn't left, I wish you'd take the time to thank him and ask about that program. Mayor King, I want to thank you, not just for the support that you have always given me, but for the friendship and the many hours we spent together talking about stuff.
Stuff is good.
Yes, stuff is good. The captains and the kings depart, and I hope you're going to be playing a lot of golf, and I hope you're still going to be available to help me with the next project.
Whenever you need it.
Thank you for the many good years of leadership you've given us.
Thank you,
Next on the program, we have our DGDC Director, Julie Metz.
Thank you, sir. You might be asking, why you? Why is Julie Metz one of the ones honored to speak about Al King? I have asked myself that numerous times as well, especially when considering my fellow speakers. I feel pretty certain that one of the reasons is because they thought I would get all weepy, and they wanted to see me cry in public. Well, if this past DGDC annual dinner and several of the events that have led up to this night are any indication, I must tell you it is pretty likely that I will. This marks the close of a significant chapter for Goldsboro, as well as my career here. I started working for the city in 1993. I was just getting ready to turn 25. The mayor at the time was our HR director, and I was in the planning department. Since that time, he has inspired me and many others through his unique leadership and people approach. For instance, in 1999, when I decided to quit smoking, I shared this news with him. He simply looked at me as if to say, I won't hold my breath. Each day thereafter, I would see him passing through City Hall, and he would ask me how long it had been and looked at me doubtfully. He knew how to get to me and assured I would quit by telling me I couldn't do it. He always had this unique talent of being able to read a person and understand what would motivate them. In my early years as downtown director, he would listen to me through frustrations I experienced, the many varying expectations, the lack of resources, lack of support, and general lack of interest. It is not that I shared my frustrations with him in hopes that he would fix it. I came to learn that it was his twinkle in his eye that conveyed an understanding and a belief that things would work out just fine and as they were supposed to, that comforted me and drove me. One of the qualities that I have grown to appreciate most about him is how he relates to people. When it comes to city employees, he treats us like people. That might not sound like much, but it is. And for those that work hard, demonstrate loyalty to the community, and deserve to be treated like professionals, he does. He may have a general vision of what he would like to see, but he lets the staff, through their experiences and professional backgrounds, figure out the details. He has said this numerous times over the years. The most important job I have is to stay out of their way. The ability to have enough trust in your staff and respect their abilities is a remarkable quality of a great leader. Another quality I have learned to admire is his innate ability to look at a problem or an opportunity through the lens of people that are not similar to him. Former Raleigh planning director shared some wisdom of his to our city council many years ago that reminded them that they were all men at or above the age of 50. He further shared that the challenge they would have as councilmen is that human nature will dictate that the majority of people that come to them to talk about their concerns, issues, or criticisms about how the city allocates its resources will be men at or above the age of 50. That was never a challenge for the mayor. He wanted to create a community that would attract the younger generations and make it something they could be proud of. When Mayor Al King came onto the DGDC board as a member, he was not mayor. In fact, he had no idea what was in store for him at the time and could not have imagined that he would be put in an even greater position to influence the course of downtown. Then he was simply a new retiree for the second time around, interested in helping in a section of the city that he found himself caring about more and more as he worked downtown in City Hall. When posed the question as to his interest to serve on the DGDC board, he readily agreed in 2001. It was not much longer, just a year later in fact, that he was approached about another commitment, that of mayor. And as they say, the rest is history. I'm sure you will have all witnessed his love for downtown in some form or fashion. He is probably downtown's single biggest advocate. Why? He gets that downtowns are the heart and soul of a community and probably the single most important aspect of a community that makes it unique. And Al King likes unique. Look at him. He is Goldsboro's first African-American mayor. He drives a pink car, which Ruthie has always loved. I know it's really mauve. He follows his heart and leads by example, making his own decisions based on what he believes is in the best interest of our community. He does not apologize for that. He chooses to walk the golf course instead of using a cart. Heck, he beat all the city department heads in a Get Moving campaign where they kept track of their daily steps. Under his leadership, downtown Goldsboro has begun a new course, one in which we are allowed to create our own fate by giving us the support we need to be more proactive, creative, and resourceful. Since becoming mayor, downtown has experienced $85.4 million worth of investment. We have seen things happen: construction of the City Hall Annex, a proper restoration of historic City Hall, a partnership with NCDOT to restore the Union Station, construction of a new GWTA transfer station, Center Street streetscape, and the reconstruction of the Paramount Theater with his friend, Mr. Weil. He has been regarded as one of the most significant mayors in the state by the North Carolina Main Street program and is called upon to share his enthusiasm for downtowns often. When you look at these pictures that I've put on the slide presentation, you'll realize how many community events he has attended over the years. He never missed a Lights Up or a DGDC annual dinner. He attended countless community ribbon cuttings, participated in races, banquets, you name it, he made himself always available. He, through his everyday approach to leadership, never-ending charisma, his ability to still get excited about things as if he was still a young boy, and his dedication to the community has created a coveted reputation statewide and beyond. People genuinely like Al King, and they don't forget his easy way with people because he makes a connection with them that is unforgettable. This legacy and the fact that when people think of Goldsboro, they will fondly remember Mayor King will make our jobs much easier for years and years to come, to continue the good work he has set forward to make Goldsboro a better place. He says this job was easy, but I say to the common man or woman, this job has to be terribly exhausting and hard. Mayor, you have become my Goldsboro dad over the years. John Metz has always felt at peace, knowing you would be here to keep me straight. You once referred to me as the straw that stirs the drink. Probably very fitting, but I have to share that I have appreciated every opportunity to participate in that change that worked to make Goldsboro better. To your indomitable spirit, the fact that you would unabashedly stand for something you believed in, your eagerness to try new things, shake things up a bit, and your resiliency to negativism and pessimism, these are the qualities that I have admired, and I hope I will carry with me in my professional and personal lives as you always did. Thanks for all you've done to help me professionally. Thanks for being a friend and a father figure. Thanks for your work with the DGDC, for believing in downtown and never giving up on it. And most important, thank you for giving Goldsboro your passionate work and support for 13 years. We are all better for it. In closing, I want to share that over the past 40 years, the mayor had a poster strategically placed so that he could see it every day. These were the words that he wanted to remember to carry forward in his work. There is no sadder or more frequent obituary on the pages of time than we have always done it this way. I think it is safe to say you were never satisfied with status quo, and you were the leadership agent that allowed us to do things different that, in the end, made Goldsboro loved and positively unique, just like you. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Our next speaker is on this list is Major General Mark D. Kelly, but none of us know him as Mark D. Kelly. We know him as Grace. Grace is kind of a homeboy here in Wayne County. He and Tanya served 8 years here. They've been here 8 years at Seymour Johnson off and on, and we know him as Grace or either Tanya's husband, either one. And we kind of how we've gotten to know him over the years. But it's just, and now he's moved on to be the head. That's pretty neat. Of the 9th Air Force located in Shaw, and so he's the man. And we're just so honored and happy to have Grace here to say some words.
Well, it is great to be back here. Not too many weeks ago, Julie called me up down in South Carolina. It's asked me what I was doing tonight, and I had an appointment in Virginia up at Langley, and I said, hey, I can't be there, sorry. She said, well, it's really important. It's a monumental event. It'll never happen again in history. I said, well, what is it? She said, Chuck Allen's going to buy you a beer. I said, not only is this an event that may never happen in history, it's not happened yet. I will be there. So I am proud to be here with the good mayor, Allen, and this great mayor over here. And in all seriousness, it's a testament to Al King that this room is standing room only. A great former governor that we have here, and just a phenomenal group of friends and family, mostly family, friends that have become family. And you're here as a testament of what he's done for this city, and I'm proud to be up here and stand with our great wing commander, Slocum, and of course, Joan Doherty. And of course, you heard from John Kwast, but I'm here just to represent just a small piece of what this man has done for Seymour Johnson, our airmen, and our sons and daughters of the nation. And if I stood up here and told you what he'd done for them, we'd never get out of here. But I can tell you, Seymour Johnson has no better friend than Al King. The Air Force has no better friend than Al King. The nation has no better friend than Al King, and that pretty much summarizes it. If I had to pick 4 words and I just scribbled them down, I'd have to pick 1,000, but I'd like to pick 4. Genuine, sincere, unwavering, and unconditional. This is an unconditional friend of our nation and of our city. He's here during your best days. We have a lot of friends that are here on our best days. He's a friend in our worst days. So on the 18th of July, 2009, I gave a few phone calls, only a few. But I called this man. This is my second person I called. I said, Mayor, the nation has lost 2 young sons in Afghanistan. I said, the Air Force has lost 2 young sons in Afghanistan, and Goldsboro has lost 2 young sons in Afghanistan. And you guys know him well enough to know what he said. You guys could tell me better than he could tell me right now. He said, the people and the resources of the city are at your disposal, Colonel Kelly. I told him I had to go, and I would get back with him the next day. That's why everybody's standing here in this room. That's why this is the best friend this base will ever have. I had my change of command in 9th Air Force just a few months ago. And of course, me and Tanya kind of rocked in from being in Afghanistan ourselves for a year. Myself, she was up in D.C. And I got to 9th Air Force, and they showed me the layout on a beautiful slide of how the hangar was going to look. And they said, we're going to have an F-16 over here to your left, and we're going to have a beautiful F-22 over here to your right. I said, really? I said, where's the F-15E? Well, it doesn't fit. So let me explain something to you. I said, Mayor King has RSVP'd. If there is not a F-15E Strike Eagle right behind him, he will have me arrested at the city limits. There was an F-15E at the 9th Air Force. Change of command right behind Mayor Al King's head, as appropriate. And so I'd like to stand up here all night and tell you how great man this is, but everybody knows it at the table. Everybody knows that's why they're standing here. You know, and we always have an inside joke. He's the finest mayor on planet Earth. And that is true. 9th Air Force is a big entity. I have 29,000 young airmen. They are spread as far south to Homestead, Florida, as far north as Burlington, Vermont. They're as far northwest as Malmstrom, Montana, and as far west now as Nevada and Tucson. And this is the finest mayor in 9th Air Force. I know there's a gift table over here, but I want to hand you something up here, not because getting a picture with me is any big deal, but me getting a picture with you is a huge deal.
Mayor, that means you have to get up.
I want to let you know that General Kwast said he was going to be here, but I showed up with wine. So this is for you to relax, make sure your retirement is yourself well. Thank you so much. You got it.
And General, the mayor's got something for you too. Here you go. Oh. Mayor, you had this for General Kelly, remember?
Yeah.
There you go.
You didn't think we could do this, but we can. Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Well, next, I don't even know how to start. This lady is not only a true friend to Goldsboro, she's a true friend to all of North Carolina, and especially Eastern North Carolina. She was, whenever the mayor called her, she ignored my calls, but if the mayor called her, I mean, she was Johnny on the spot if we needed help with Seymour Johnson, if we need anything. And so it's just quite an honor to have the Honorable Bev Perdue and her husband Bob here. And so, Ms. Perdue, will you make some comments?
Thank you all. The one good thing about not being in office is that we don't do a lot of these. I say no lots of times, and so Senator Payton, Representative Bell, there's another life coming for y'all. Get to know that. But I'm delighted that you're here. I came for one reason. I came for Al King and his family, and I came for Goldsboro and Seymour Johnson. I didn't know that I was going to get to see a magic downtown tonight with the Christmas lights all on and the sparkle of a water fountain. I didn't know that that was going to be kind of the extra frosting on the cake. I came because I love you, all of you in this room, and I love this community. Let me tell you one of the first stories, and I've already talked to Phil Bedour and Wilbur Shirley a little bit about it tonight, but I was lieutenant governor, and many of you all know that I live in New Bern. And so just as Chuck, my new mayor, congratulations, really proud of you. You can dress up too, you look good, I'm telling you. The boy in country, is he? I'm telling you. So this was maybe 2003 or 4. We had just been told that there was a huge base realignment commission, and for whatever reason, I was assigned by the governor the task of being the point person, the leader, if you will, for the BRAC initiative. And as I began to do the homework that's necessary to be sure that we can keep an F-15 somewhere in the state, I was in and out of Washington and the Pentagon. And one day I can remember going into this general's office, and we're so glad to have you two back. I don't know the new guy, but I sure like the old guy and his gal, so we're delighted that you're here. But this was probably during your tenure in 2004. I walked in, they would always see you. You know, you're somebody from a state, they'd be glad to listen to you. But just like the mayor said, we're going to rebuild the Paramount, they knew what they were going to do before they talked to me. So it was kind of a waste of my time and their time, but they were generous. And I get into this office, and I have my 35-minute block of time, and we go through the bases in North Carolina. And the only base in North Carolina, for whatever reason, in 2004 that I was really concerned about was Seymour Johnson, because this was when there was this whole momentum around downsizing. And I said, General, off the record, if any of the bases in our state were fragile, vulnerable, could you just give me a hint which base it would be? And I held my breath and said a prayer. And I looked at the general, and he said, no, I can't do that, Governor, but I'll tell you what I can do. I'll tell you the one that's not under any kind of really serious look, that is the best base, one of the best bases in the country. And I'll tell you the real reason, because that mayor, or that alderman, Al King, and that man named Wilbur, well, they've been up here in the Pentagon parking lot serving us barbecue. Now, that's a true story. So when you all hear about a hands-on mayor, Al King was the king, literally, of being hands-on. He has been the people's mayor. And because of that kind of leadership and all the other thousands and thousands of things he has done for Goldsboro and for North Carolina and for this country over the years, long before your tenure as the leader of this city, we're all so incredibly thankful. It was my great honor as governor of this state to be able to proudly proclaim that I was privileged to live in America's most friendly military state. I believe that's true today. I believe it's been true for almost 100 years. And I want you to know that one of the reasons that North Carolina is that unchallenged leader across this country is because of the work of communities like Goldsboro, making sure that mayors like Al and leaders like the new mayor and the members of this board have the support of both the community and the base working together. It's important. It's our jobs. It's our economy. And so tonight, I knew you were Mr. Gold. I thank you for all that. But when I saw this downtown, Al, if I had to retire, I would pick a day like today to retire with the Christmas lights on and the joy in the air, knowing that I had left this lifelong legacy. This will be here after most of us in this room are long gone. You've done something special. You've done lots of things that are important and that are unchallengedly contributed to the history and the legacy of Goldsboro. But tonight you've done something magic. Look out there and see. Let's all give him an astounding round of applause.
Thank you.
And now, if you want to believe this or not, because I'm still a politician, the gift is in the mail. I had the gift. It's in New Bern, and I called my office on the way up here, and I said, could you just mail it to Al's home?
No.
It's in the mail.
No.
It's a North Carolina plate that I expect Miss King to put on some kind of plaque and to let him look at every day.
You are the gift. Thank you.
Okay, y'all, we're getting close. One thing I do want to do is I failed to do this, and I'd be really upset if I didn't fix this, is I didn't recognize Mayor and Miss Juanita King's daughter, Allison, and son, Kevin, and their 3 grandchildren and her friend. But what I want to tell you 3 grandchildren, and this is very special. This is very special. Really, Goldsboro is not losing a mayor. We're going to have 2 mayors, because the way I look at it, I've been in training for 14 years, okay? And some of these years were longer than others, but I've been in training, and once in a while I listen, and he told me the other day, he said, I'm not going to be far, and I can come back quick. And I just want to tell you, there's not any man anywhere any more special than your granddad, and he is the man. And you ought to just really, really hug him when the night's over, because he's just a great person. He's a great human being, and he's a great American. And we're just really, really proud to be able to serve with him. 2 other things I would like to do before I turn it over. One, I would like to recognize General Doherty for coming. General Doherty is one of us, too. He came through Seymour several times, and now he's some man off doing some fancy stuff and all over the world and flies all over. Would like to recognize General Slocum and his wife Savi. They're equally just as good right here and at the best base on planet Earth, doing really good things. And General Slocum, God, I'm making you, well, you are General, I forgot. Well, you're close, right? They can't come back. Now it's public, so you're General. So anyway, we're making him General. I don't care what they do in Washington. He's our General. So anyway, you got that, Grace? All right, good deal. But he is helping us immensely with some things going on in Goldsboro. He's very involved, very open, very upfront, and he's just making a huge difference. And we just really appreciate all you and Savi are doing for our community. So, okay, well, with that, We've got time for a few quick comments. So if anybody's got anything that hasn't been said that they want to say to or about the mayor and it's nice, then you're more than welcome to come up here and make some comments. So would anybody like to do that? You're a king. Y'all don't know how to talk quick.
I'm not as long-winded as some. I just want to thank Goldsboro for all the support. I know everybody may not have always supported everything that my dad did, but he loves this city so much. And I am very happy that he is going to get a chance to rest. 3 retirements is enough, so I'm thinking this is the last one. But I will say, I work at WRL. I've worked there for almost 30 years. And they were like, what are we going to do? Your dad's not the mayor. Who are we going to call? And I said, well, I do have the new mayor's phone number. So don't be surprised if you get, not from me, but from some of those other folks. But thank you again. Just thank you, City of Goldsboro, all of you people that have come. Really appreciate it. I know how proud he is. And it's always nice to have somebody get their flowers before they can't see them. And I think he's getting those today, and I thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, so Mayor King, it's your turn. Kevin, you gonna talk? Okay, you ready to go? Come on, Mayor. Kevin's ready. Let's go. It's your turn. And this is one of your shorter speeches.
I don't have shorter speeches. I would like to, Daryl Garner, what are you? Daryl? No, just before. I'll let you. But Daryl, are you here? I know you're here. Daryl Garner is my very special friend. We've been friends for many, many years. He was the mayor of Newport for about 40 years. He retired. I worked with him at the League of Municipalities and Risk Management and all over. And Daryl is one of the best joke tellers I've ever seen. He could have made a career out of singing and telling jokes. I told him I was going to ask him to come up, and I think he said, no, I'm leaving. But that's all right, Daryl, I'll get you. Yes, sir. Did you, what?
Real quick, I'm going to be brief, unlike you, because this is not a black funeral, right? I just want to say, we don't get back home enough. I've been back home a lot in the last 2 months, and it is such a blessing to have that woman right there able to attend sitting here. I say he's the rudder of the family, but she's the anchor. And just it's made this night even more wonderful than it would have been. Unlike all of you, we had to be here. So we really didn't have a choice. We all talked about it, and there was just no way we could get out of it. But no, seriously, all of you, I just, from our family, we appreciate your presence. We really do. That means the world to this guy. And just very briefly, as a testament to how he led our family, there are a lot of things I couldn't do in life, a lot of things. But I knew that if I could follow in his footsteps, any family I had would have the opportunity to grow up as happy as I was. I had a childhood, and this girl right here that's been beating me down for 49 years now had such a wonderful life. And, you talk to people and they ask, of when you look back, is there anything you would have done differently? No. If I could have chosen these two people, every time it would be these two parents that you see. I won't go too long, but I followed in his footsteps. I was in the Air Training Command. We refer to you guys as Mud Hen guys, of course. But in the training command, you got a little bit of everything. You had just about every airframe, and I was an instructor, and we would have guys reluctantly come back to the training command after they had done several years of being where the rubber meets the road. And what was unique about Goldsboro is they would see my name and they'd, King, man, that sounds familiar. And I was like, well, my dad has a job there. They call him the mayor. And they were like, Al King. That is incredibly rare. Any Air Force guy here will tell you, you typically don't know the civilian leadership of your town. A lot of cities, they're two different entities. The base is over there, and then you have the city, not here. Seymour Johnson is Goldsboro, Goldsboro is Seymour Johnson, and that's partly from the legacy of those that went before him, but also this man right here, and we just love you, and thank you for carrying the torch, and thank you for being the man you've been, leading this family for so many years.
Thank you.
Love you. 5 minutes. 5.
5 minutes.
5, maybe 7.
7. I don't really know how many. I'll let you know. You'll know when it's over. Where do I start? Man, I'll tell you. Look at all of these people over here. I had no idea any of you would be here. And I walked in and I see, oh my God, who are they here for? It couldn't be me. And then my family, I didn't know they were coming. And they snuck up behind me and, when did you guys get here? They came in from Atlanta, and I didn't even know they were on their way. But I'm sure glad they came. I don't know where to start, but let me just say a few words about this Seymour Johnson Air Force Base, the greatest fighter wing on planet Earth. You guys are our economic engine. You see, I know that. And I also know that you have something here that's very special to the Air Force. And if we treat it right, it's called the F-15 Strike Eagle, a very, very special weapon. And we will always do all that we can to make sure, General Kelly, that Seymour Johnson Air Force Base and its F-15 Strike Eagle, and whenever they get the next one, but understand it's going to be a long time, don't even talk about bothering Seymour Johnson Air Force Base and moving them anywhere, because they will never, ever find another friend like us. They won't do it. To all of the visitors who came from out of town, I want to personally thank you. A lot of the Risk Management Board of Trustees and the League Board of Directors are here. Risk Management guys, could you stand? Did they leave? No. There they are. Thank you so much. There is Daryl Garner. He's here. Okay, Daryl. The league directors here, and the former Ellis Hankins. Where's Ellis? And Paul Meyer. Ellis, thank you so much for coming. And there are an awful lot of other people I've seen around here that I did not know you were coming, but I'm so proud, so glad that you took the time out of your busy schedule to come and say farewell to me. It means a lot. The league, the city, government, period, means a lot to me. My life has been service, public service. I think I was born to do that. About 60 years I've spent in public service, and I've touched all bases: federal government, state government, county government, and city government. A lot of you didn't know I worked for the county, did you? It wasn't long. It was about a year. And the city stole me from the county. That was a long time ago. But this great city, we've got so many great people here that wow. And David Weil. Wow. David, you and your family, it's not just David Weil. It's the David Weil family. And Emily right there, the two of them, and their daughters, son-in-law. I can tell you, David didn't tell you about the Paramount Theater, what role they played, or the real role they played. Once we finished the Paramount Theater, we were opening on Sunday. I came out that Saturday to go and see how things were going at the Paramount Theater. David Will, Emily, and his whole family were there putting name tags on chairs, on the seats that individuals had bought. That's the attention to detail that we have. And Goldsboro, is awfully lucky to have you and your family and people like you. There's so many other people in here. Allison Platt, would you stand? Allison Platt. Allison is the person who designed this program for us. Allison lived in Baltimore, Maryland, and we decided we were going to do a streetscape, and we knew about her, so we got a hold of her. She came, talked to us, and, well, yeah, and she came back later with some ideas, and we talked again, and she came back later, a few days, months or whatever, we talked again, and when we were getting close to closing the deal and finishing this, Allison came to me and she said, you know, Mr. Mayor, I could live in Goldsboro. I think I'm going to move to Goldsboro. She was living in Baltimore, Maryland. I said, oh, yeah, sure you are. Next time she came, she said, I bought a house in Goldsboro. And Allison did, and she moved to Goldsboro. And she said, Mr. Mayor, I moved to Goldsboro, and I want you to know you have access to free information. Now, coming from Allison, that was a godsend. But coming from the average citizen out there, free information they're going to give me is worth about what I pay for it, which is nothing. But that was not true with Allison Platt. And Allison, thank you so much. And I see all these, this guy here, oh my God, Charlie Gaylor. We have some Citizen Martha and Jimmy Bryant, and I can just go, Phil Bador and all of these, Wilbur. Wow. These are the solid citizens. I don't have a watch, I'm sorry. These are the solid citizens of Goldsboro. And without them, Goldsboro would not be what it is today. And I would like to say a few words about the great staff, the employees who service the city of Goldsboro, your public servants. You have the best dedicated quality workers that you will find anywhere. And I had the best staff that I would find anywhere. You know, I spent a year in Vietnam. I commanded a squadron in Vietnam, and I tell this often, and it's true. When I was in Vietnam, the men, and we didn't have women in Vietnam, under my command would have taken a bullet for me. I know it. I would have taken one for them. I equate this group of people who are now our staff here, I put them in the same category. I would go to war with these people. They are absolutely, positively awesome. I'm going to name a few. Julie, my God. We've known each other for such a long time, and what a brilliant, brilliant mind, and what a great job she's done. Melissa. Wow. Melissa is our city clerk. Most of you don't even know what a city clerk does, other than it does clerk stuff. No, it's way beyond clerk stuff. This is very serious business. Any document that's ever been made for the city, our city clerk's got to be able to go back and find it. And she is the absolute best. And her daughters, I remember them when they were little kids, and now they think they're women. Well, they sure are young ladies, and they're beautiful, smart, young people. And the citizens of our great city, man, let me tell you, we do have cave people in the city of Goldsboro. You know what cave people are? Citizens against virtually everything. We do. Or the 5%ers. They're pretty much the same. But they are loud, they're vocal, and they will make the average person believe that they represent the majority. I know better. I know they're cave people, or I know that they are the 5%ers. Let me tell you this joke, and most of you, it's not a joke, it's a fact. It was serious for me. The best vote I took as mayor, it was after we had discussed streetscape and whether or not we were going to approve it. And there were one little old lady, boy, she was on my case, and she had a lot of money. And she was telling me how much she supported me, but if I kept pushing that streetscape thing, she's not going to support me anymore. And I'll let you imagine what I told her, but it wasn't nice. The night we were supposed to take streetscape, oh my God, I survived the Center Street Streetscape project. Is that mine? Oh my God, Ruthie. I remember when she was born, and she's my favorite supporter right here. Thank you, dear. Awesome. Wow. Thank you. Man. But anyway, the night we were supposed to vote on the streetscape, I was a little leery as to whether I can count to 4. We have 7 members of the council. It takes 4 to pass an issue. And I couldn't count to 4 that night because 1 was gone. And I said, I think we will not vote on streetscape tonight. I think we will come back Thursday night at 7 o'clock, and we will end the meeting then with a single vote on streetscape. I got home, and the telephone rang, and it was a great supporter of streetscape and what we do, and I knew it. He said, Mr. Mayor, I was listening to the meeting, and we want to make sure that you guys stick with it. We need that. I said, well, I know that. You know that. But it would sure be nice if we had some believers at our council meeting to show up and say supporters. He said, oh, okay, I think we can do that. And the night of the vote, I came out of my office. The elevator is right in front of it. And there was this little old lady who came out the elevator, and it was the number one person who said, you don't need to waste taxpayers' money, and we don't need to do this. So we walked over to the boardroom, council chambers, and I opened the door for her to go in, and she, oh my God. And I said, wow, what's the matter? She finally went in and she found a seat. The place was about like this. She couldn't find a seat. She found one in the middle of, all those people were our supporters. And she was, and one other, were the only 2 naysayers in the room. The whole audience were those who supported streetscape. And when we took the vote, it passed, and the room got up and cheered. I have not seen that lady since. I am serious. What was that, 2.5 years ago? But she's a nice lady. I understand now that she said, well, it looks nice, but I don't like it. Well, I don't care whether she likes it or not. We got streetscape. So I'm about finished now. Chuck, is there anything else you want me to do other than sit down? No, I'm not sitting down. No, I will. Any of my family members, my family, would you stand up over there? These people over here, that's family. In that corner, they came from different places. Yeah, where's family? Yeah. So thank you so much for showing up. We appreciate it. And to the military guys, I know you had other things that you could have done. General Slocum, I like that. Wow. Pete, where's Pete? Doherty. Let me tell this one story, and I'm going to sit down. But when Colonel Doherty at the time was the wing commander here, I talk all the time about Seymour Johnson Air Force Base and home of the 4th Fighting Wing, the greatest fighting wing on planet Earth. And I'd been after DOT an awful lot. We needed a sign at Goldsboro saying that. And they drug their feet. They, And one day, before Pete left, he called me. He said, Mr. Mayor, the sign's up. He said, I'm going to come by and take you. We'll go by and take a look at it. And we took a picture there, didn't we? And sure enough, the sign on 795, entering Goldsboro now, it said, it didn't get it quite, but it didn't get it exactly right. But I'm not complaining. It's Seymour Johnson Air Force Base, 4th Fighter Wing, greatest fighter wing on planet Earth. It left our planet. It just said Earth. I'll take it. So, Julie, are you going to close this out? Oh, okay, Chuck, come on. Since you insist. Thank you. Don't make me come up.
Okay, we got two things. First off, we want to thank everybody on behalf of the King family, and especially the King family. I do want to one more time thank Danny King. Danny is doing a phenomenal job with these young kids, trying to teach them a trade and teach them something to do. And then also, I want to just to take 1 minute. I see that the best dressed NCDOT board member that in the state of North Carolina has come in, Mr. Gus Tullis, and we want to thank Gus. And he always, him and Jimmy Rowe, our planning director, are always the two best dressed people anywhere I go. So I just want to thank you for coming in. Thank you all you do for us, Mr. Gus. Have I left anything out? Thank you, everybody, for coming. Have a great, safe, Merry Christmas.
Thank you. And I just want to add that there is a guest book as you walked in. If you haven't had a chance to sign it or leave the mayor a note, please do so before you leave. Thank you.